So there's a lot of talk about fetuses suffering or children suffering when they're born, neonates, whatever you want to call them, because every week we're calling babies something different. And I try to keep up, but it's hard. There's a lot of conversation about this, and the problem is that we're not really looking at this realistically. And again, to reference, perinatalhospice.org has a ton of information about this, as well as most hospitals now. When a baby is carried to term, the baby is given palliative care, and the baby is giving any pain medication. It's literally the same thing as if your born child was, God forbid, terminally ill and had cancer or something. They're not going to just let your baby lay there and suffer. Okay, they're going to give them medication. My daughter was given medication when everything was said and done and she was dying. She was given pain relief. Everything was taken care of. Okay, so I want to be clear. They're not suffering. What does cause suffering is the digoxin injection that women give or women are given into their abdomens during a third trimester abortion. So when a doctor plunges that needle in, it actually causes a heart attack, and it also can actually take up to 72 hours for that to work. And that's why if you go in for a late term abortion, you don't know how many days it's going to take. It could take 2 days or 3 days. I know mine was a second trimester abortion, and I was told I may have to come back after 3 days. And until I just looked this up right now, I didn't know why. Literally 10 minutes ago when I looked this up, I didn't know why I was told they couldn't tell me 2 or 3 days. Now I know. It's because with the digoxin, if they don't get it in the right spot, what happens is it's in the amniotic fluid, and it takes longer for the baby to die. So if they get it right into the baby's heart, you're causing a massive heart attack and they die right away. But if you're not, your baby is suffering for 72 hours before, and then they give it another shot when you come back to have everything removed, the laminaria and everything removed. So the idea that somehow abortion is saving a baby suffering is absolutely ludicrous. And we need to stop this. We need to end this conversation. Babies who are born with birth defects after being carried to term are not suffering. Parents who choose to carry their pregnancies to term are not abusive, and they are not bad people who are fetishizing their babies and causing their children immeasurable suffering in order to bring them into the world. So there is no suffering. I don't care how many op-eds people write for the New Yorker or how many letters to the editors the Washington Post has. In a first world country, which is where we live, babies are given pain relief. And the idea that somehow we have this idea that babies are born and they're just kind of left to die and nobody's helping them. That's what happens in abortion clinics. That's not what happens when a woman carries to term and she has her baby in a hospital. Okay, so if you really, really care and you really feel that we need to make sure these babies are protected, then what we need to do is insist that women are giving birth to babies with fetal anomalies in hospitals. If you really want to assure 100% that baby's not suffering, then the only way you can do that is for a woman to be giving birth in a hospital. Okay, so we need to end this conversation. Pro-life people need to hit back hard or step out of the conversation and let some of us who know what we're talking about jump in at that point. You need to stop talking about babies being conceived who have birth defects being allowed to be aborted because of suffering on the part of the mother or the baby, because it doesn't happen. And I'm so tired of hearing it, because it's really inaccurate in the rational sense, and it's also on a personal sense. It's really insulting that anybody would believe that I would cause my child unnecessary suffering because I had some conviction that, I was trying to glorify myself or something like that, which is a lot of what you'll see pro-choice people say. So that's about it. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much and have a good night.